Hi, everyone. Okay, today I have on Sarah's social sesh is Renee Hribar. And she is a sales coach for women who are selling for themselves, but she is a master seller, queen of sales, I like to call her.
Oh,
And she's very fun and just, I love being around Renee. Her energy is great. So, just a little bit about her. She made her first million before she was 25 years old, went on to sell millions of dollars in products and services while training thousands to sell for the first time. And one thing that I think you'll really like about Renee, and one thing that I think when you're in her energy and around her, she has a laugh and learn teaching style, and she helps you like see the softer side of sales. So
yes.
I am so excited to have you on, and welcome.
Thank you. That was very nice. It's always weird to hear your bio read out loud. You're like, that's true. That's true. But it's always like your best self, right? But don't
Well,
open the
true.
whole closet. You might get killed by what falls out.
No, yeah. Well,
Here
we
we
gotta
go.
let the people know.
Yeah, there's
So
there's all the sides. No one has it all figured out.
exactly. Well, we came to meet because I started working with you a couple of years ago. I joined your
Yeah.
Sell Like a Mother program because
Yep.
I was obviously doing sales for myself,
Yes.
first as
And
a social media manager. Yeah.
you were doing great. I mean, what we did, and I recognized it right away. So this is something I think too, is that you can still make sales and still also get better at it, right? And get better at the
Yep.
systems and processes. And that's really what we worked on, is you just
Yeah.
refining some of the things that you were already working on. That was you were just a joy to work with, that I asked you to work for my company,
Thank you. I
which
know.
we
And it
did
was
do.
a
It was
great,
awesome. I loved it.
it was. I did too. And I think that's a great point that you can get better at sales, because I think sometimes people go into it like if they don't get the sale the first time, they're just like, well, shit, I suck. So they just don't even, they kind of give up before they get really started. And it's a process, don't you think? Like it's a fine tuned.
Well, it's like people do like the couch to 5K, right? It's kind of like that. Or it's like you're not going to stand up and like make $1 million today. I mean, like you're not going to go run a 5K if you've been sitting on the couch, but you can walk to the end of your street and then
Yeah.
try to run back, because you're running toward the couch and you feel more excited about it. And then see how that feels. If you don't hurt yourself, try that again tomorrow. And so,
Yeah.
incremental progress over time is all we can ask of ourselves, right? We're human.
Right. Exactly. And so what do you think trips people up the most when they're very first getting started? Or maybe they've even been in business for a while. They're not getting the sales. What do you think trips them up the most?
Well, I say this all the time. The hardest territory to work are these 4 inches, right? That's why they need you. They got to get
Yeah.
out of their own head and out of their own way. Like, we are our own worst enemy and our best asset all at the same time, right? Our own Achilles heel. So from a tactical standpoint, though, and I do definitely talk about the emotional and the tactical side, you can't untangle them. Some people need
Mhm.
more emotional support, and then they find it in other capacities and other ways, and I think that's encouraged. But then some people need more tactical support, and again, I think that's where the course covers. So, like, tactically speaking, if they have been in business for a while and they're not getting the sales that they want, it's typically a symptom of the fact that they can do a lot of things. They actually are probably very good at lots of things. And
Mhm.
so they're not sure where to focus their intentional energy. Where do I focus my time? Is it on going out to networking events? Is it on social media posting? Is it on creating a podcast? Is it on writing a book? Or should I
Yeah.
offer my selling in my $25 offer, or should I offer my mastermind? I mean, I can also do VIP days if they want. Like, there's so much they can do that they're and it's kind of like dinner. You open up my fridge. My husband loves to grocery shop. I know that people like to go and like order their groceries. I would if I lived alone, but my husband, he just loves. I think it's like his little retreat away from me.
Yes.
I don't like the grocery store. I won't go with him. So he's like, I need to go to the grocery store, which means I need to be no,
My alone time.
after 25 years. It's okay. So he goes to the grocery store. So we always have lots of groceries. So the question inevitably happens every day: what are we going to have for dinner, right? And so, regardless of who's cooking, well, we could have chicken, we could have pasta, we could, I got some fresh ravioli. That's good for a couple of days. We can have that tonight, or we could make a frittata with what we had 2 nights ago, and then we're freaking starving. And it's like 30 minutes into the conversation. I'm like, please just heat something up. Well,
Yeah, exactly. So you know,
decide on one
just,
thing.
you just outlined my whole thing. It's like, shit, I can do all these things. Which one should I do? So decide on one thing. How do you decide what is the best thing?
Great question. So here's how I made the decision. I commit to only 1 week at a time, or a short period of time,
Okay.
a month at a time. So I know that there's one thing that's for sure all the time, is that everything's always changing. Amount of time I want to spend on my business, the kind of people I want to work with, the kind of, all the different factors and variables, how much money I want to make. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depends. So what I know is, because I can do so much, because you can do so much, if I, to myself at least, and this is what I do encourage with my clients and students, is commit to one thing for a short period of time and just stick with that for that one period of time. And then once that period of time is over, then decide what you want to do next, if it's more of that or if it's something else. Because
so
that
is there a
pushes
point
them out of stuck, right? It gets them into action mode.
Right. And so how do you know? Here's a question I would ask, and I don't know if this goes a little too much, but how do you know if you're only doing it for a short amount of time? How can you tell? Because sometimes I've heard people say, you need to get 100 no's before you're really ready to get on to the next thing. And it's like, how do you know if you just need to give it some more time, or if this is really working, or if it's not working, if you're only doing it for like a short amount of time?
Right. So, okay. So let's define that. Great question. So what I'm saying is, decide on which offer you're going to put out there.
Okay.
And commit to everything that you want to do to market that, get people talking to you about it, and actually making the offer. And then here's the fourth part: deliver the offer. So, that I teach this whole thing called $1,000 in a weekend, right? Which is like, this is kind of what it is like, decide on one thing. Let's say you could take somebody on a 12-month journey of, reinventing their whole life. Well, that's a lot to commit to, for you and them, but what if you just want a taste test of your own offer plus them? So we say, listen, for 90 minutes this Saturday, we're going to get 10 ladies together, and we're going to do just this one exercise, right? The wheel of life has got all these pieces. We're just going to talk about this one wedge, just one. So there's going to be a little pre-work, a little bit of fun. And then when we get together, we're all going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you some evaluations of what I think. My name is Sarah now. And then, because I wouldn't be talking about a wedge in the wheel of life, but you would potentially. And then after this 90-minute live workshop, for those of you who show up live and participate, I'm going to give you a free 15-minute evaluation of, you pick a thing, your workbook, the rest of the wheel of life, your life in general. And so we could book a 15-minute call, and then we'll go from there. So you get a little bit of the pre-work, so workbook style, a little bit of workshop style, so community, and then a one-on-one. And that gives you, the seller, the person who wants to deliver this result for people, a little taste test. You bring in 10 women, you charge them all $100. They got a workbook, they got a training session with you, live recorded. They can have it forever if they want. And then a 15-minute call with you within a week or 2 weeks time. And then you can decide, well, what did that open up for them? What did that press on for them? And that 15-minute call is your chance to kind of tie it up. Like, do I make them another offer? Do I make this person another offer, but not the other 9 people? And so if you charge $100 per person, that's $1,000. And you just made $1,000 to test an idea. And then also to get people into level 1 with you. So that would be one example, beautiful. Right?
Kind of, yeah. So it's basically, you're saying kind of like just niche down on one offer to work on. Yes.
For a minute. Right. Exactly. So for that week, or that month. And so you can say, well, maybe I'll do that I'll workshop on the 15th of the month. So today's the 1st of the month. So for the next 2 weeks, I'll work on filling that workshop. Then the 2 weeks after the workshop to the 30th of the month, I'll work on getting those 15-minute calls and deciding if I want to do another workshop, if I want to offer those people, the ones that came to a certain point, a longer period of support. Is it going to be in a group environment? Was there some synergy, some real connection in the community side when we came together as a community in that workshop style training? Or is this going to be one-on-one? Or maybe it's a mix. But it gives me information and profit, a little bit of money, and I'm actually talking to people. I'm actually doing the work I want to do. It might not be for full transformation, but it gives me a taste. It gives me an idea. What do I want to do next? This is a good starting point. I'm talking to people. Now what?
Yeah, it's a great foot in the door. It's
Right.
like just getting a little taster and yeah.
Everybody wins, even if nothing else happens. But things are going to happen, is what I'm. They're always going to. The pot will be stirred, right? Your brain will be like, what? So then you'll know from there. Okay, am I going to do a group program? Am I going to do a mastermind? Am I going to do a membership? Am I going to do one-on-one coaching? Maybe all three. I don't know. Check it out. But you'll have
Hmm.
people that are actually interested and willing to talk to you about it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Great suggestion. I hope those that are listening follow that advice there because I know I know lots of people in the entrepreneurial space who this is tough. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's just tough to get out there and get clients and
Yeah.
help people really because they
Right.
have to know who you are and it's noisy.
It's noisy, right? So they have to know who you are. That's you. I'm not going to commit to a year of working with somebody, no matter how big or great the promise is or how great the price is, if I don't know them.
Yeah.
People don't buy from strangers. I mean, like, I know the
Yeah.
internet has us believing differently, but you don't just, I don't know her at all, but I gave her 10 grand. No, that doesn't happen. Like, nobody does that.
Exactly. Yes.
No.
And that leads me into your whole thing about the three C's. Do you want to tell us
Right.
about that? Like, I think that's super important for people to know.
Right. Thank you. Right. So let's say you hatched this idea that you took this idea that I said, you or anybody listening, and they put it into action and nobody buys it. Well, that tells me that you're probably over explaining it or not explaining what you want clearly. So go back to the drawing board. Use AI. Talk to your friends. Go back to the drawing board. Now you're not putting time and energy into wasting any more time. But any time that you talk to anyone, even if they don't buy something from you, it's still a valuable interaction for you and them. Because everybody, this is the three C's, this is what I live my life knowing, is that everybody is either a client. I mean, that's always, one option, or they're a connector to either another opportunity, a book you haven't read, a movie you haven't watched, a person you haven't met yet, a network you haven't explored, a program you haven't checked out. It's a connection to something, a person you need to meet because that's your next client, or some sort of collaborator where they're like, you see some synergy. You're maybe not sure what it is yet, but you're like, I really like working with this person. I don't think they need me and I don't think I need them officially as clients yet, but what magic could we make together? Maybe we could co-host a workshop. Maybe we could co-host a VIP day. Maybe we could co-host a webinar. I don't know. The endless possibilities are out there. But by talking to people, you're always going to learn more, do more, get more, be more. Like I've not met a millionaire yet or anybody that's like really good in business. That somebody you could point to and say they're successful in business and I'm like, you got to talk to more people. And they're like, that's stupid. Never. All of them are like, yes, talk to people for F's sake.
Absolutely. Or you never heard anyone say like, yeah, I got here all by myself. It was all alone. I did this work. Yeah. Like nobody helped me. I just became a millionaire. Yeah.
No,
exactly.
even like I follow like Chris Helmsworth, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to? But he's like, I have 12 people that are at my house every day in addition to my family. Chefs, mindset workers, body workers, I mean, like 12.
Damn.
He's like,
yeah.
that's just a regular basis. He goes, some people sometimes are bringing more. He's like, that's how this happens. He's like, it's not me.
Yeah.
If it was up to my own devices, wouldn't look like this.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because you know how it is on social media. You see somebody that looks like perfect or whatever, and you're like, damn, they're just so lucky. It's like, no, they got money, they got support, and yes, and they did the work. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I got a question here. Because I've done some social selling myself, which is it's a little bit different than like selling for yourself because you're obviously selling for someone else. Yeah. And I think I heard you on your podcast say that great salespeople ask great questions.
Right.
So I would love to hear just a little bit more about that. Because I think sometimes that can get people stuck. It's like you see somebody you want to work with, even if you're just connector, collaborator,
right? You
just see somebody that you want to be in their energy or space. And sometimes you just get, I think like for introverts too, you get kind of stuck. Like, I want to ask them, but will that sound weird? And I also think people are super leery of you being in their DM. They always feel like I feel like they get scared they're going to be sold to. So what would you say to someone who feels like that? Like, I don't want someone to feel like I'm selling to them or, okay. There's two questions in one there. Sorry.
No, so like there's one energy around like I don't want people to think I'm trying to sell them something. Well, we're all trying to sell something, an idea, a product, a service, a time and attention, right? Like we're all doing that. It doesn't, you don't have to like quantify yourself as like a salesperson to do that. So my answer to that mindset is you got to get over it or you got to go work for somebody else. That's it. So you got to get over that, because there is, if you don't want to promote your business, and if you don't believe in your business enough to want to at least share about it, talk about it, then who's gonna? If you don't think your baby's cute, no one else is going to. Right? So like I grew up oldest of 6 kids. My parents, my whole family are entrepreneurs, and they're like, you have to promote yourself. If you don't stand up for yourself, there is no one coming. No one is behind you.
Absolutely.
Coming in.
Yep.
You might have a support system. Maybe Chris Helmsman got 12 people, but that doesn't matter. No one else. He has to be his own best champion. So when I go into the DMs, I'm not like, hey, you got a fat ass. I'm a health coach. We should hang out more and do some squats, because that would be rude. But you can, when I say a good salesperson has a good pitch, but a great salesperson asks great questions, where we got stuck is I'm going to go into someone's DMs and pitch them. No, I'm going to go into someone's DMs and compliment them on what I see them doing. Hey, I saw that you just posted that picture about something. I think that's fantastic. I also have, a something, or I also have, I'm familiar with that because of a client I worked with. Tell me more about what you're doing, or what was the inspiration behind that? So when I say ask great questions, ask a question that they want to answer, and that doesn't take a freaking biography to answer. It doesn't take a long time. And don't try to ask all your questions at once. Like ask one question at a time.
Yeah.
So ask great questions. What's relevant? What would make sense? And so for the people like, I don't know what would make sense. Well, now you got AI, you got all kinds of things. But that probably, I would say, at least half of the work that I do on a daily basis in Voxer with my clients is, Renee, this person just said this to me. What should I say next? And I'm like little sales Cyrano on their shoulder, like, say this. And they're like, good. I'm like, okay, great. Use it. Now send me a screenshot when you do it,
Yeah.
And usually it's them overthinking it, worried, and trying to put too much into a DM. A DM is just like waving to somebody on the street. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I like that shirt. That's nice. Hey, that's a pretty blue on you. Brings out your eyes. I don't know. Like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, where'd you get it? That would be a next normal question, right? Where'd you get it? Oh yeah, that's good. I love TJ Maxx. I can't go in that place. I go in there for lotion, and then I come out with like, I don't know, $200 worth of shit I didn't need. But I got wrapping paper for next Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love that place. So they always start talking about TJ Maxx and Christmas and buying shit we don't need, and all of a sudden we're friends. So you just got to ask a question. It doesn't even have to be about business. So that's how you make friends.
Yeah. That's how you make friends in this day and age, right?
Anytime. Like on social. Yeah.
Ask them a question they want to answer.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I want to tell you where I got this shirt because I like it. I wore it and I want to show it. I want to tell you. I got Nordstrom. I don't know. I didn't get this shirt at Nordstrom. I got it.
Yeah. Hey, can you tell us about that shirt actually?
Yeah. Well, I got about 500 of them. So this is Experts Connect. This is my event. I hold it once a year. I've got one more that I'm hosting in 2024. And then after that, I'm changing that up. But it's an event that, when you come, you get a t-shirt. And you get other stuff too.
No, you don't just get a t-shirt. You also get.
You do. I have
a booklet. And let me tell you guys, yes. So I went to Experts Connect twice. She's had 2, and I went to both of them. There was in Vegas and Santa Monica.
Oh, gee.
And it's a beautiful thing getting together with other entrepreneurs. And you're basically doing the 3 C's. You're connecting, you're collaborating, seeing if there's anybody you want to collaborate with. And maybe there's a client in there, maybe not, but it's a good time. And one thing that we went over this, I think, both times, was how to work on 6-figure proposals. So there's a lot of information that Renee was helping us with.
Yes.
Experts
Connect. I run it workshop style, right? Like, I mean, I just love the quick bites. So it's like, first it always has the same structure. Like, we look at the past, people you've met in the past. How do you reignite those conversations so that you can open up to all the possibilities, right? So we always talk to like a former client, ask a question, former colleague. People are always like, oh my gosh, they answered me. They said something so nice. I'm like, I know. And then we talk about
and it's led to work. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes.
people making money in the room. I'm like, this is what it's all about. They're always like, that was so easy.
Exactly.
I'm like, I know. I don't know why you seem so surprised. This is what I do. Then they talk about the present, and that's like meet everybody who's in the room, collaborate, connect. I like give you prompts. It's very meta. I'm like, say this, do this, now do this with each other. And like I make you like promenade around the room, get your picture take, get the selfie. I make you talk to each other, and it's amazing what happens.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. And I want to say too, Renee's always talking about, and I keep these words always pop in my head, like, get the selfie.
Get the selfie.
It's like, don't be scared. It's like, just take a selfie with someone. You know, it's, what are we so scared of, right?
I know. If you've heard of HubSpot, have you heard of HubSpot?
Yes.
So Hamida, the CEO, I was at her conference and there was like 3,000 people there. So I wasn't the only one. I mean, Obama was the keynote. And I was like, hey, can we get a selfie? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Now we're BFFs. No, we're not. But somebody on her team is BFFs with me on LinkedIn. Posted it, tagged her, talked to her for a little bit. Yeah, you know,
right.
we're not enemies. I wasn't like, hey, you know, I can get some sales training in there. But at the end of the day, you let the conversation take a natural course, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
To start the conversation, to try to continue the conversation. It's not that difficult. It's about them. It's about what they want to talk about. And it doesn't have to always be about business. I said that already, but I just can't reinforce that enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't come in with an angle, right? If you're worried that people are going to think you're trying to sell them something, then release the fact that you have to sell them something and allow it
just
to
connect
if it's going to happen, right? Like it's just like dating, right? Like I remember it's been a long time since I did it. I've been married forever, but like I remember like not only dating myself, but having my friends go out and date and like encouraging them. I lived in a big house with a lot of ladies when I was in college, and I always thought they were like the most gorgeous. I lived with like the volleyball players, like they were gorgeous, tall, and like fabulous and athletic and smart. And they're like, I don't know if he's gonna like me. I'm like, go. Well, how can he not like you? Well, what if he doesn't want to have kids? I'm like, go on a first date first before we start having that conversation, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just dating, not a marriage proposal. We're not figuring out what our kids' names are yet.
Yeah, it's like, let's just be present. Right. Just tonight, right? Absolutely. So, okay, I know we're running short, so I just want to I know if you want to follow Renee, she's at Renee Hribar, which is ReneeHribar for those who are not. I'll put everything in the show notes too.
Thank you.
And you have your free community of entrepreneur. I can't say that word today.
No one can. I don't know how I named it that way. Try spelling it. It's horrifying. I have entrepreneurial connections movement. Like yes. I think someone challenged me to use how many consonants I can use. One word.
You won, right?
I win.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so they can find you on Instagram at Renee Hribar as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And she has Experts Connect coming up next year. She has her own, like if you need help with sales, there's Sell Like a Mother, which is a whole course to get yourself. And she also does some other coaching. So it's like, just reach out to her or reach out to me and I will connect you two. Okay. And if I want to ask you one last question. So if you, this has nothing to do with sales. Like what's one book that you think everyone should read?
Entrepreneurs for sure. Women specifically. Oh, I always give this one out.
Overcoming under earning. Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
I always give this one out. And then, I mean, she's cool. So this is an example of what you can do with enough podcast episodes. But Barbara Stanny, she's been around for a long time. She's actually the daughter of like the R and H&R Block. And she has a whole backstory. It's really interesting. I mean, she's still around, but Overcoming Under Earning. It's a big mindset shift. It's on Audible. I don't get any commission for it, but it's one of the pivotal books that when people read it, especially people that I work with, they're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
That's awesome. I've never even heard of that book, so I'll definitely check it out as well.
And I love her because she used to go around in church basements back in the 70s doing workshops on women that want to overcome under earning. And so you don't have to necessarily be poor to be under earning. You could be making six figures and still under earning because we're undervaluing ourselves. So
yes, awesome. Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.